Hello and welcome back to Dukascopy TV. Now if you're watching this on YouTube or indeed on our Dukascopy TV website, then you are a user of online media. I'm joined in the studio today by Ago Cloytons, branding and marketing expert, to talk me through why online media is so important for the financial services industry. Ago, thank you very much for joining me today.
It's good to be here.
First of all, we all know how much online media has impacted our lives in the last 10 years. It's everywhere. But how important is it for the financial services industry? And has this industry been late on the bandwagon, do you think?
I think generally speaking, I don't think financial services industry as a whole has been late. I think there are tremendous examples out there of financial services institutions, banks, insurance companies that are really leveraging and harnessing the power of the internet, not only for branding and marketing, but for providing better service, providing a higher quality of service, engaging with consumers and customers in a different way. I think generally speaking, there are three things that I've certainly seen in the last decade or so that are happening online. The first one is that information, the sheer amount of information has just exponentially grown. And obviously that has an impact not just on the quantity of information that is available, but also on things like investor behavior, the choices we make, the way in which we make those choices. So that's one thing. The sheer amount, the quantity of information that's out there is just unbelievable. The second thing that I've seen is that the speed at which information becomes available is just much greater. I remember when I was younger, this was maybe 20 years ago, my father was a stock market investor, and I remember he used to keep these big sheets of paper and actually chart out the performance of his equities and of his holdings. And today it just seems incredible because we all have access to 24/7 online trading platforms. We all have a live performance of our stocks and our equities and our different holdings in our pocket and our phones. And so the speed at which information has become available is just is tremendous. The third thing I've seen is also that the combination of one and two results in the fact that consumers and investors are just that much more informed, which means that banks and financial institutions and their employees also have a responsibility of being much more informed. I think maybe even as recent as 10 years ago or 5 years ago, if you had average knowledge of things like mortgages and interest rates and financial markets information, you could get by. Today, when you're a banker and whether you're trying to sell mortgages or complex financial services packages or equities or structured products, you better be informed because people will come in and they will have done their research beforehand, and there is so much information out there that they can do that. So that certainly has an impact.
So far we've spoken about the positive influences of online media, but surely there are negative influences as well, with false information getting picked up and rumours. How can we avoid the false information?
Sure. I think as with any major element of human evolution, whether it's related to media or not, there are always going to be inevitable negative consequences. And the accuracy or inaccuracy of the information that's out there certainly is one of them. There's a lot of information out there that ranges from mildly inaccurate to deliberately manipulated in order to produce certain results. And so one thing that I think we all have as a responsibility, whether it's as consumers or investors, is to verify the sources of our information. Let me just give you a second example. It turns out that on average, when someone has a positive experience, they will tell two people, two friends, two colleagues, when they have a negative experience, they will tell anywhere from 10 to 20 people. Now imagine for a second if Facebook, a network like Facebook, which has 800 million users, take those two together and imagine the effect that this would have in terms of when there is a negative experience that a consumer has with a particular brand or a particular financial services institution, the impact that would have on things like trust, credibility, the purchase intent of other consumers out there.
So lastly, for companies who want to invest in online media, what advice would you give them, and would you say that they would get a great return on their investment?
I think as with any investment, it all depends on the amount of research that you do and to a certain degree where you, I would say, pick your battles. So the first thing to do is to look at where you currently are, how you're currently spending your marketing budget, how you're currently allocating your marketing resources. And then the second thing that I usually recommend when working with clients is certainly that they pick one channel, one strategy, one thing, and then they focus on that and they use that as a pilot. Now that helps for a couple of reasons. It can help to demonstrate some first results. It can help to do something smaller, almost as an experiment, and then build on that before you start making bigger investments. And the third thing, it also typically internally within the company, it establishes a track record of success that other people tend to notice. And so it establishes a stronger desire, I would say, within the company to start investing in that. One thing that's very much, I think, crucial in any online venture, whether it's social media like Facebook or LinkedIn or something else, is be clear about your objectives and try to make those as measurable as possible. Now the good news is that in the online world, virtually everything is measurable. Virtually everything can be measured and the impact of everything can be measured. And so it's very straightforward often to make a very clear and direct link between a particular marketing activity, a particular event, if you will, and the impact that it has on the bottom line, which helps greatly in my experience in selling this to executives internally.
Thank you very much, Age, for joining me today. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's all from Dukascopy TV today, but don't forget our social media. Download our app, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. But until next time, goodbye.